Good
Hey,
evening,
man.
Harold.
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, Baruch Hashem.
That's good.
Are you guys here for Pesach?
No, we're going to Florida.
Ah,
Going
okay,
to
good.
Doral. How about you guys?
You were staying home. All my kids are coming.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've been
We
going away the
gotta
last
warm up.
couple of years.
Yeah, you have a program there.
Yeah, it's the Trump Doral. I forget the name of the program. Anyway, people out of New York have been going. This is the fourth year in a row. They treat us nicely. The place is nice. All my
There's
kids
nothing wrong
fit.
with that.
Yeah, we were going to switch programs to Orlando, but it was the first year these people were doing it. We weren't quite sure if they're
If you're
experienced.
gonna
So
make it,
we'll give them 1 year tryout.
see if they lasted. We rented a couple of houses a couple of years ago. I think 2 years
Where?
ago in
Where?
Orlando. In Orlando,
Oh,
they have these monster homes that are built basically for time sharing type of thing. They rent it out.
yeah, those really, really big. Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's amazing. Like the whole thing shifts.
Hello,
Hello.
Hello, Mario.
how are you guys?
Good, good.
Oh,
I'm gonna move.
Oh,
All right.
hey, now I can see you again.
Now I'm ready. All
no, no,
I know. Where is he already?
maybe it was a joke that we have a shift today. Today is April
April
1.
Fools? Yeah, I don't think he's joking.
I don't think he jokes about this.
No. I was over at David Rubin's house for the Shiva. There's so many people. They're crazy.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, there's 7 kids, and the kids have friends and other family members. It's very
Yeah.
sad. Very sad.
What happened? What's the good
No, at
news?
David Rubin's house.
Oh, I haven't gone yet. I have to go.
Yeah.
I can't believe she had 7 kids. That's amazing.
7 kids. Yeah. Yeah.
She had one after she was get
Right.
after she
Yeah.
got sick.
Just goes to show you that if you're fertile, you can do it.
Look at the 87-year-old rabbi.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
asked Rabbi Sigelman, what's the shot here, Rabbi?
And where do you
Filled me
say?
in on details.
A
Not that he knows,
7 year
but yet
old?
he said it was It was interesting. He said
Wait,
that a
what do you say?
male sperm, if you take it directly from the testy, is actually good. It just gets, the older you are, it gets damaged en route.
Uh-huh.
So he said, it's in theory, probable that it was his
Yeah.
zera. It was his semen, his
Yeah.
sperm. But he said he doubts they used her eggs.
Did you sign up for his podcast, the Rabbi's podcast?
The birds and the bees.
Yeah. I'll listen, but I
I
don't
just
wanna
love the
speak-
way it's like Ernie talks about peepees. It's the same way Rabbi Siegelman talks about
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, he's an expert
making
at-
babies.
Yeah, making babies. So the wife is in her 50s as well. He was 87.
57, not in
she's-
her 50s. 57. They got married. She was 52.
They waited to have kids.
No rush. We waited this long. I think she has like 10 with her previous husband, or 8,
Oh,
or
she did.
Yeah.
He never had. This is his first.
right.
That's what I heard.
So that means he's going to be 101 at the boy's bar mitzvah. Crazy.
It's a Bechor, no?
It's
The
Bechor,
Bechor.
yeah.
Pigeon a Ben.
No, it's not a Bechor.
Yeah,
His Bechor.
His Bechor.
and there'll be a pigeon event also, right?
No, because it goes after the mother.
It's after
Oh,
the
it
mother.
goes by
Yeah.
the mother. Oh, okay, yeah.
There'll be a bris, or there was a bris.
And how old is the father? 87?
Yeah, it's 87. Yeah.
Kanine Oren.
So Akiva in Israel is like when it happened, he's like, everyone in yeshiva is going crazy, and Mashiach,
Right.
blah blah blah, they're dancing in the streets, and like everyone was freaking out. So then I told him what Rabbi Siegelman he said. He says, "Oh, I can't say that here. Nobody will believe me."
Right. He doesn't want to face reality.
Exactly.
It's easier to live with a miracle.
Yeah.
Did you think they named the kid Yitzchak?
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one. Everyone's laughing. Even the doctor.
And why is there? Oh,
Seriously.
Oh, there's Ernie.
Ernie can explain how did this happen, right?
What was that?
They're talking about the guy 87 had a baby in Israel.
I can't,
Kushalevsky.
87 years, what? A man can be fertile until he dies. That's the laugh. Meaning,
I think I was just talking to Rabbi Siegelman about this. That's what I'm laughing at.
no, it depends. It usually he'll have erectile dysfunction, but there's no reason why the testicle cannot be
So
produced.
Rabbi Siegelman said the sperm, he said what they would generally do is take the semen from the testy directly. He said, as opposed to the way in which it's given in a sperm bank. So that's what he said. So he was speaking about ED as well, and just whether the sperm would survive, even if it could come out naturally.
Kenny, our seminiferous tubules, a female is born with all the eggs that she'll have for the rest of her life. They're in her ovary. And every month she ovulates one of those eggs. She never produces any more eggs. A man produces millions of sperm every day. New sperm.
Right, but what Rabbi Siegelman said is that the process as a person ages, it's not that the generation of the sperm is aging, but the work that the sperm has to do through its travels is it impairs it to a greater degree as he ages, as a male ages. And therefore, he said when older men want to use their sperm, they do some more complicated procedure which allows them to take sperm from the testy directly. That's what he said.
Okay. I had a patient just a week ago who had what's called the cauda equina syndrome. He had a massively herniated lumbar disc, which compressed his cauda equina nerves, which are the nerves below the L1 region. So if you have an L2 disc, an L3 disc, an L4 disc, the nerves that are relevant for erection, ejaculation, for rectal function is S2, 3, 4. So you can compress those nerves, and to the point where your bladder doesn't function, you can't get an erection, and you can't have a bowel movement. That triad
Wow.
is called the Cauda-Equina syndrome. And even if the neurosurgeons go in very quickly within 24 hours and decompress it, sometimes the impairment remains forever.
Mm.
Now, this guy was 38 years old. He couldn't ejaculate. So there's other means of doing ejaculation for spinal cord injury. You can do actually what's called electroejaculation, like what they do for horses. They put an electrode in the rectum and electric shock, and you can get sperm there. But they didn't work in that guy, so they actually went into his testicle. It's called TESE, testicular sperm extraction. And I talk about it in my Sefer, in the Kal Hashem Sefer. Does it make you a psuadaka? The answer is no, because it's not a through and through defect, and it's repaired. So it's a halachic. So Asher Weiss and Yitzchak Zilberstein commented in my Sefer that they approve of those. So this is but an 87-year-old man does not have to go through TESE as long as he's able to have an erection, which.
Well, I doubt an 87-year-old man. I mean, maybe.
No, there are elderly men that still are potent. If you ask me percentage-wise, it's not great, but they can still function. Certainly with Viagra and Cialis, they can have enough of rigidity to penetrate and ejaculate, and then they're gonna. I'm sure he had a child through natural means. I doubt that he went through TESE and micro-TESE with a. Now, the issue is his wife was in his 50s. But that's
So Rabbi Siegelman also said he felt, he doesn't have any proof for that, he said, but he felt that they must have had an egg donor.
certainly possible.
Right.
It's certainly possible.
Whatever, Mazel Tov.
What was that?
Mazel Tov, whatever it was, I don't need the details.
My nephew had a baby girl this morning.
Oh,
Yomi
Mazel Tov. Oh,
Mazel Tov.
Mazel tov.
Thank
Is
you.
your nephew 87 too?
No.
No, but his wife's 57.
Okay.
Okay, Lamed Gimel. No. The pasuk says, if you find an animal rovates tachat masao, means he's verkracht, he's bent over. But it just happens to be below Raptzan, an animal that does that all the time. So he would be excluded from this din of having to unload him. Rovates velo omed. If the animal was standing upright completely, then there's no din of unloading him. Tachas masao velo mefurak. It means the burden has to be on him, not that it's already unloaded from him. Tachat masao masui shiach lamad bo. When it talks about the animal carrying a burden, it cannot be overburdened. It's a little counterintuitive. The Torah excludes from the mitzvah of unloading an animal that is found to be overburdened. You would think it would be a kavach chomer, that if a burdened animal you have to unload, an overburdened animal certainly you have to unload. No, that's not the din. Now, and in fact, we've been dealing with this question whether Tsar Balei Chayim is Dorais or not. And if you're going to tell me Amrit Tsar Balei Chayim Dorais, Mali Roivitz, Mali Raftan, Mali Oime, what do we have any of these? The din should be you should unload the animal no matter what. Amani Rabbi Yossi Aglili. The Omar Tsar Balei Chayim Drabonon. In fact, the reason why he excludes the other cases is because the din of Tsar Balei Chayim is not the Raisa. And it's logical based on the words of the Bryce itself, Tiktani Tachas Masa'o, Masu Sheach Lamed Bo. Meaning a regular burden. If it's overburdened, there's no mitzvah to unload it. The man shamis le diislei svara. Who have we been told before that has this svara? Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Shema mi know that then our analysis is correct. Umi matas mokmis like Rabbi Yossi Aglili. How can you set up the brights like Rabbi Yossi Aglili? Vaktani sefer tachas masov lo mefurak. Not if it's already unloaded. My lo mefurak. Ile lo mefurak klalak siva kem takimimo. If it's, you have to load him again. You have to help him unload for free. But if it's already unloaded, now you can, to load him, you can charge for that. So how can you say the Brisa is Rabbi Yossi Aglili? So Rabbi Yossi Aglili has a split shita. By Te'ina, he holds like the Chacham that say that you can charge for that. Ton Rabbana. Ki sireh, chamor sonacha. You see the donkey of somebody you hate groaning under his burden. Rovetz tachas masa. Now, how far away can you be where you're exempt? I mean, do you have to find them with binoculars? Talmud loymar kis sifka. You have to be able to touch him. Maybe that means you touch him physically. Talmud loymar kis sireh. What is a seeing something which is close? One divided by 7.5, that ratio of a mil. A mil is 1,000 amas. So you're talking about 266 amos.
Why don't we just say it's eyesight, whatever you can see? Why do the Chachamim have to come and give you a shear?
Art Scroll says, what, 3,000 or 4,000 feet? What is it here?
I'll say Zewa Shir, it's a ris. A
3,000 or
ris,
4,000 feet.
a ris is 266 amos, which is actually about 500 feet. Tana, Madada Imo, Ad Parsa. You have to walk with the animal loaded for about a parsa to make sure that it won't fall again. Noi tells but you can get paid for that. That you don't have to do for free. Avedoso vavedas aviv. You find a lost object, your own and your father's. Avedaso kodemis. Your lost object takes precedence. Avedaso vavedas rabo. You have a lost object in your Rebbe. Shalo kodem. Your lost object precedes the Rebbe. Avedas aviv avedas rabo. Shal rabo kodemis. Your father lost something, your Rebbe lost something. You have to occupy yourself with the Rebbe's lost object first. Because aviv aviv lo'olam hazeh, the Rabbi Shalom d'chochma aviv l'chayil l'mapo. Your physical father brought you into this world, but your Rebbe is going to give you the keys to Olam Haba. Now, im aviv chacham, then aviv kodemis. If the father,
But even if a person's father is not a Talmud Chacham, he's still teaching him midos, behavior. I mean, there's tons of things. You know, what we always say about women in particular, you know, that what the women teach their kid at home, blah, blah, blah. And then we say, you know, derech eretz kadma l'Torah. So I don't get it exactly.
Well, this is not the only place in Shas where we have that the Rebbe precedes the father.
In all cases, I agree. I mean, but we always make this chiluk. If the father taught him some Torah, so then the father takes precedence.
Yes.
But like, it's not like the father's not doing something, even though he's not a scholar.
That's correct, but the Torah, without Torah, you're not going to make it to Olam Haba. Yes, Derech Eretz Kadma Torah. In order to learn Torah, you need the key of Derech Eretz, but it doesn't exclude. You got to go through the vehicle of Derech Eretz, but you still need Torah. You can't make it there without Torah. And we say this world is a pros door to the next world. So that's probably the pshat. Aviv Rabba Nesuin Noisin Masoy. The father and the Rebbe have an animal with a burden. The press, you help the Rebbe's first. Haya Aviv Rabba Bebeis Hashevi. The father and the Rebbe are hostages. Poides Rabbo. Vachakach Poides Aviv. You redeem the Rebbe first. But im Aviv Chacham, Poides Aviv Vachakach Poides Rabbo. Then the father has both. He's his father and he's his Rebbe. So he gets both. Now, first the Gemara wants to know, where do we learn the concept that your lost object takes precedence to your father's or to your Rebbe's? You have to worry that you don't become poor. Take care of your finances. And therefore, you have to worry about your own finances, your own personal finances before anybody. It's the same thing about your life, right? We've learned in many places. If you have a bottle of water and you're in a desert, chayecha koidmin, your life takes precedence. The same thing, your finances take precedence. It's a backhanded halacha. On one end, we're told that you should take care of yourself first. But someone who is makayim that, he's going to end up on poverty road. Almost like a mida keneged mida. It means you got to worry about the other person as well. If you're always going to stand on that principle that you're going to take care of yourself first, then in the end, that'll lead to poverty. We said the father has an animal burdened and the Rebbe, so you help the Rebbe first. What do we mean, Rebbe? Rabbo Sha'amro Shalom de Chachma. Chachma means Gemara. That means pilpul. It means lumdis. Not Rabbo Shalom de Rak Mikro Mishnah Divrei Meir. Not just the Rebbe who taught you psukim and mishnayos. Rashi says, like a regular Mishnah without explaining the svara behind the Mishnah. Rashi says, Lamdu Chochma Svaras Tamei Mishnah. Ulavin Shlo Yosoid. Everything that the Gemara does to show that a Baraisa is contradicting a Baraisa, and what's the reason, what's the Svaras, that's Gemara. Talmud Bavli. Rav Yehuda Omer, Kol Sharov Chochmaso Heimenu. Has to do with volume of learning. The majority of his learning, even Mikra and Mishnah and Gemara, you add it all up. And the one that taught him the majority, that's his Rebbe. Rabbi Yossi Omer, Afilo Heir Adam Einov, El Mishnah Achas, Zeo Rab. Says even someone just taught you one Mishnah, that's considered your Rebbe. Amar Rava, Kagon Rav Schayra the Azbrin. like Rav Schora, who explained me the word in the Mishnah, zua malistrin, which is a certain kind of like a fork. It's like some kind of instrument. So I have to call him Rebbe because he explained that to me. Shmuel karamane aleahum rabbana. Shmuel would tear kriya if one of the chachamim died. The Asbrei, who taught him the Mishnah, echad yored la'amas ashechi ve'echad potech kivin. Even though he explained him one Mishnah, he already would rip kriya for him. Amar ula talmidei chachamim shebebavel oimdim zeh mipnei zeh. The talmidei chachamim in Bavel would stand up for each other, the korin zelzeh, and they would tear kriya when they died. In Bavel, people didn't have like a Rebbe Muvik, like the Rosh Yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael, like Rav Yochanan. Each Chacham learned from the other. And therefore, each one, their friends were like their Rebbeim. But Linin Aveda, to be Magdim, returning a lost Aveda to a Rebbe instead of Bimkom Aviv, Ein a Chayzrim El Rabbi Muvik. It's not a Talmid Chaver, but it's got to be a Rabbi Muvik. Kavim Minei Rav Chizdim Ravuna. Rav Chizda asked Ravuna, Talmid Tzarich Lo Rabomai. He's a Talmid, but he needs his Rebbe. What's the din? And Rav Chizda was a Talmid Chaver with Ravuna. And Ravuna thought that Rav Chizda was referring to him. Amar lei, Chizda lo tzrichna lecha. He said, Chizda, I don't need you. At tzrichas li ad arboim shanim. You will need me for another 40 years. Now, each one sort of took insult at this. Ikbid adadi v'lo ayl gabi adadi. They stopped visiting each other. They were angry. Yosef Rav Chizda Arboin Tanesa. Rav Chizda fasted 40 fasts because he insulted Mishum the Chodesh Dati Ravuna. He insulted Ravuna. And Yosef Ravuna Arboin Tanesa Mishum the Chodesh Rav Chizda. Ravuna fasted 40 times. That he suspected Rav Chizda falsely because Rav Chizda didn't have that in mind. Itmar, Rav Chizda bar Yisrael b'shem halachik Rav Yehuda. But in Rav Chizda bar Ravuna Omer b'shem Rav Sheish halachik Rav Yosi. Umi am Rav Yochanan hachi v'am Rav Yochanan halachik is tam Mishnah utnan. The regular unnamed Mishnah is Rabbo Shalom the Chachma. So it looks like Rav Meir. My Chachma, Roiv Chachma. So, in your day it says, that the din of Chai Vadim Lichbodis Rabbo, that's only the Rebbe Muvik. The majority of your Chachma you learn from him, whether it's Mikra, Mishnah, or Gemara. The Ramah says, Bisman Hazeh, who is a Rebbe Muvik? Mi shalom de psak halacha uve'iyuna amiti, like somebody who gave you smicha. Someone who didn't learn his majority of his Torah from one person, you know you covet only. Means you stand up for him, b'toch ta'adamis, you tear kriya for him, but it would not take precedence over your father. Tarabana. Ha'oskim b'mida, ha'oskim b'mikra, people who learn chomesh, are a mida toiva. Well, ein mida, it's mida of ein mida. It's a good mida, but it's not perfect. There are other ways of learning that are more important. B'mishnah, harezu mida, v'notam alem schar. Learning Mishnah already has a maila, and you get reward. Talmud, which is Gemara, and the Chamidik Dolam, that's the greatest. Yet it concludes by saying, a person should run to learn Mishnah more than Gemara. What do you mean? Hagufa kasha amrit, ein lecha midah gdolim. First you said in Gemara, there's nothing greater than it. Then you told me an opposite story. Run after Mishnah first. Rav Yochanan, Bimei Rebbe Nishnas Mishnah. This Mishnah was taught in the time of Rebbe. And he wanted to show how important learning be'iyun is. Shavku kulam masnis vazu bazar Talmud. After Rebbe said that, everybody stopped learning Mishnah, started learning Gemara only.
Was there Gemara in Rebbe's day? It wasn't just Mishnah?
It was learned. It wasn't written down yet. Ravina Ravashi, 200 years later, wrote down all the discussions, what we call Gemara. In the Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Nissi wrote the Mishnah. So, but there was discussion in the yeshiva about all the things we mentioned that Gemara is. Comparing Brises and Mishnayos, they did it obviously orally until Rebbe wrote down the Mishnah. So when Rebbe made that announcement, everyone stopped learning Mishnah. Then Hadar Dorish Lahu, because people need a foundation before they learn Gemara. They need to know the Mishnah as well. My Darush. Now, where did they come up with this concept that learning Gemara is more important? Kidadosh Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi, my Dichsiv. It says in Yeshaya, Haged la'ami pisham, tell my people their sins. Ulubeis Yaakov chatosa, Haged la'ami pisham elu tamei chachamim. That shgogois nasalon kizdoinos. A Talmid Chacham has to be very careful. If he does something wrong, even if he does it b'shogeg, people are going to learn from it. They're going to do it b'mezi. So a Talmid Chacham has to be very careful. Ulbeis Yaakov Chatosam Elu Omi Haaretz Zdoinos Nasalam Kishgogois. When they do something b'mezi, it's like they did it b'shogeg. That's a chatas. Because they don't realize how severe the averis are. V'hainu disnan, Rabbi Yehuda Oimer, Evizor b'Talmud, be careful with Talmud, Shishigas Talmud, Oila Zodo. That's the Talmid Chachamim who learn Gemara. They have to be very medagdek because their shoygigs will be treated like a mezi. Rabbi Yehuda, Dorish Rabbi Yehuda Rabbi Loi. My Dichsiv, there's a pasuk in Yeshaya. Shimud var Hashem acharedim el divro imru achechem sonechem menadechem leman shmi chaber Hashem v'nira b'simchatchem v'hem yavoshu. We darsh Shimud var Hashem acharedim el dvarov elu tamid chachamim. The charedim are the tamid chachamim. Imru achechem elu balei mikra. People who are expert in Tanakh. They know they don't know halacha, so they give cover to the Tamei Chacham. Soneichem elu balei Mishnah. They think that people don't give them cover, even though they are Chacham. Minadeichem, people who are far away, elu amei aretz. Shematoymar. So I might think that those that are not Tamei Chachamim have to give up hope. No, they will see Simcha. Shematomar Yisrael Yevoshu. Will they be destroyed? No. Heim Yevoshu. That means Nachrim Yevoshu Yisrael Yismach. The non-Jews will be destroyed. The Klal Yisrael will be happy. Perak Shlishi. So George joined me in Rambam in 9th grade. But in Hillel, I mentioned that Rabbi Sugarman taught us Gemara in 5th grade. We learned Elu Metzias. And then in 6th grade, we learned Hamafkid. And then in 7th grade, we learned Kol Shah, which is the 2nd parak of Psachim. So we learned a great deal under Rabbi Gottesman in the Yeshiva Katan at that time. Hamafkid etzel chaver be'emo kelim. You deposit with a shomer, either animals or kelim. This Mishnah is talking about a shomer china, an unpaid watchman. The nignevu or sha'avdu. We know that it's a shomer china because we're going to see this shomer is going to get off if it's stolen or lost. A shomer socher doesn't get off, has to pay, is responsible. So in these cases, nignevu or sha'avdu. So in the times of Chazal, people did not want to take a shvuah. Now, in order for a shomer china to get off, Chachamim made you take a shvuah that you were not negligent, shalosh shalach yado, that you didn't use the item. Now, people didn't want to take shvuahs, so they would pay the value of the item. Shilei v'lo ratz lishava sharei amru shomer chinam nishba v'yotzei. The din by hamafkid with a shomer chinam, an item, is if the shomer chinam takes a shvuah that he was not negligent or he was not shaleach yad, he goes out free. But in this case, he wanted to pay because he didn't want to take a shvuah. So what's the ramification of that? Nimtza haganav b'shanta shumei kefil. So if a ganav stole it, like any din of ganav, he has to pay kefil twice. Tavachu machar if he shechted the animal b'shanta shumei arba chamisha. Now who does he pay? Lami misham lamisha pikoden etzlo. The shomer acquired the rights to the object by paying instead of taking the shvuah. So now when the ganav pays, he pays him. He gets the kefil. Now, if the shomer chinim nishba takes the shvuah for lo ratza lo shalim, because he wants to not have to pay, nimsa ganav b'sham teshumei kefil, he still pays kefil. Tovach umach b'sham teshumei arba chamisha, but l'mi misham lo bala pikodon. The owner remained the original owner. He wasn't paid. It's his object. Okay. So the Gemara asks, Lama leila mista behema, v'lama leila mista keli. Why do I have to be told two different pikodons, an animal and an inanimate object? Why? Tzrichi. Di tana behema. If I would have only taught the din regarding an animal, maybe the shomer acquires the kefil of the ganav by a behema. It's a hassle to deal with an animal, to worry about it. And when the shomer said he was lo shalach yado, so in that case, the balabem is willing to give up the kefil. Aval kelim de lo nafesh terchayu. But having a box of something in your house, that's not a lot of hassle. Maybe he doesn't get the kefil. And the opposite. If the Mishnah only talked about kelim, avamina kelim the makan kilei kefil, that he acquires the kefil, mishum lo nafesh keflayu. Paying the kefil of an inanimate object is usually not a lot of money. So there's a lot of profit. Maybe the Baal will not give up the Dalvei. So it's tzricha to be told in both cases. Maskif la Rami Barcham. Kate said Efsher Loimar. Shebalach hafetzi makna l'shomer zaschus l'kabel kef. How could you even think that the owner of the object is going to be makna to the shomer the right to get the kef? Ain't other makna davar shelo b'al ha'olam. So first of all, the ganav has not been caught yet. It's a kinyan on something that doesn't exist in the world. And the normal halacha is you cannot be makna such a thing. Since the kefil is not in the world, how could you be makna it? And Afil Rab Meir, who says Adam makna davar shelo b'al ha'olam, who is the Tana, who says you are allowed to do a kinyan on a future hanimili kigon perus dekel. You're talking about fruit of a palm tree. We know that's going to come. It's like a future. David Asu. But who knows? Who says that it's going to be stolen? Who says the ganaf is going to be caught, etc., etc.? We'll learn the rest of this tomorrow.
Good, Ernie.
Okay, tomorrow, the tzurba is at 8, and we'll have to learn the daf at 9 tomorrow.
Right.
Unless you want to learn earlier. You want to learn at 6?
I
For
can't.
me, it's okay.
Say again? Let's keep it at
I'm
9.
okay.
Let's keep it
Eight
at
and nine, 8 and 9.
Let's keep it at 9, 8 and 9. Okay,
Right.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
good night.